Welcome to the Cyber Chronicles. My name is Brian Stevenson, and I will be your host. This week, we cover the most popular articles shared across the internet, and this week is no different than any. We have a lot of very exciting articles to cover. We have Russian hackers, insurgents after the midterms. We have Lenovo paying $7.3 million for installing adware on 750,000 laptops. Who makes Lenovo? We'll cover that in a second. Mr. Krebs, great article on half of phishing sites now have the padlock. So that does not mean that they're safe. Beijing is meddling in the Taiwan elections. U.S. cybersecurity firm says. I don't know why they don't just say it's FireEye. And then Marriott hacking was the biggest article of the week. We'll talk about that at the end. Stay tuned. Let's get started. Okay, our fifth most popular article of the week was shared from The Hill, and those pesky Russians are doing it again. They're back in the spotlight after U.S. midterm elections, spreading out widespread campaigns that targeted federal government and media outlets and think tanks. U.S. officials were on the lookout for U.S. interference ahead of the 2006 elections, but detection of the activity the Kremlin-backed hacking group took just days after the polls closed. Researchers told The Hill the cyber attack efforts are a sign that the hackers are exploring a new political landscape. Now the Democrats will be in control of the House in January. So interesting article out on The Hill. Things haven't changed much. We have foreign entities trying to affect our U.S. elections. Good article. Okay, the third most popular article of the week comes to us from the Hack Read. It talks about Lenovo getting fined $7.3 million for installing adware on 750,000 laptops. Lenovo is confused a lot of times with IBM, but they're actually a Beijing-based laptop manufacturer owned by the Chinese entity, which equates to the Chinese government. But the District Court of California granted a settlement 4 months after it was filed to consumers, saying that there was spyware or man-in-middleware attacks to get access to their systems and spy and encrypted communications. Read the article on Hack Read. We'll have the link down below. Let's move on to our next article. Okay, this is our second most popular article. Half of phishing attacks now have a padlock. Mr. Krebs talks about, what they talk about here is Google in particular was really pushing for all websites to have an HTTPS padlock. It would get you an indication that you are protected, but now more than ever, it says half of phishing sites have the padlock. There was one article we talked about a while back, my memory holds true, it's something like 10,000 people were requesting SSL certs with the name PayPal inside the name of the website. Obviously, PayPal is not going to get all those websites. Those are bad websites, so bad characters. So we've talked about it on a blog as well as our company thing. We think it gives you a false sense of security. Mr. Krebs tends to agree with this. A great article, as he always does, outlines what it means to be SSL and why the green little lock indicator does not protect you at all. So pick it up, read it, and we're going to move on to our next article. Okay, this article comes from AsiaNikkei.com. Beijing likely meddled in Taiwan elections, U.S. cybersecurity firm says. Cybersecurity firm FireEye. Again, tip of the hat of the FireEye. They're one of the few companies out there that have the guts, that has the balls to talk about when foreign entities get involved in espionage and actually talk about it. I'm sure they have a lot of pressure from various organizations not to bring this information to light. But elections are preceded by an increase in cyber operations, and in this case they were targeting Taiwan. And Taiwan has been a primary target of malicious cyber operations, especially actors aligned with the People's Republic of China. And it's an interesting article. Again, one of the reasons we're such a big proponent here of FireEye, they're the folks that go out and and bring this information to light. FireEye's Fred Plan talks about the Chinese government and its ability to try to influence our elections through fake news and social media manipulation. Well, the link below. Let's move on to our top most popular article of the week. Okay, before we move to our top most popular article of the week, we just want to do a couple shout outs for tonight. As always, thank you very much. FireEye, couldn't do this without you guys. And Komodo, we'd like to thank Komodo for co-sponsoring this podcast. We really appreciate your contributions. And this is a quick message from one of our sponsors.
Focus Point Technologies is a woman-owned cybersecurity solutions provider. We are headquartered in Minnesota and we have a unique approach. Our Security Technology Optimization Program, or STOP as we like to call it, takes a look at unused and overlapping functionality in the tool sets that you already own with the goal of lessening the number of vendors in your environment and saving your organization money. Give us a call at 651-330-5521.
Okay, our number one most shared article of the week. It hit virtually every media source out there, but the Marriott was breached. It's Starwood reservation systems. This system had over 500 million guests, information, passwords, usernames, passport information, identification information, just a whole litany of information. It seemed like the original breach occurred in 2014. Wait a minute, that would be 4 years ago. Wow, and we just found out. That's a dwell time that's not pretty good. And they're coming to light and saying, hey, over 500,000 of our customers that use Starwood, their information has been compromised, and they're working with an outside firm to find out what they're going to do in the full scope of the breach. Pick it up. Obviously, our three-letter Federal Bureau of Investigation is also aware of the breach and tracking the situation and trying to figure out what this could mean to Marriott. I also find it interesting that they announced this breach, which pushed down information on other breaches that occurred last week that, for example, Dell had some information and some of their user information get pushed out there, and of course they put it in a time frame that virtually no one will be able to see it over the weekend. But that's why you're listening to the Cyber Chronicle. You can get this information. So that's it for this week. We really appreciate you listening to our podcast. As always, subscribe on the button below if you have not done so already. And have a great week. Take care and stay safe.